Hello, and welcome to this very different yet equally insightful episode of Future Banking TV. The financial services sector is always having to respond to different pressures on its systems and processes, whether it's market volatility, regulatory change, global economic trends, or the advent of new technology. There will always be a need for banks to adapt and to change. The current crisis caused by the global COVID-19 pandemic, however, has presented a whole new set of challenges for these banks. With staff working remotely, customers in lockdown, and the global economy under intense pressure, the need for banks to adapt quickly is more important than ever before in order to ensure that the global financial system continues to operate smoothly as customer behaviors change, trade volumes spike, and stock markets take a nosedive. All of this means that banks need systems that are resilient and agile. At a time when large-scale systems implementation is virtually impossible, they need solutions that can be implemented quickly, are largely cloud-based, and that can deliver tangible operational efficiencies. One of our long-term partners here at Future Banking, technology vendor SmartStream, has for many years been developing cloud-native solutions using artificial intelligence as well as first-hand experience in the financial services industry. The company's CEO, Haytham Kaddoura, now explains how that model is really coming into its own as the industry gets to grips with unprecedented circumstances.
I mean, let's not forget that the challenges that were around before COVID-19 still persist, right? So whether you're talking about regulatory requirements, understanding of their cash and liquidity positions, risk management, they're still there. With the added challenge that now that the teams are not effectively sitting around the table to resolve issues and trying to, as much as possible, use technology to try to address issues. But if you look at that instance where you have, say, for example, a new team member who recently joined, they cannot walk down a couple of desks and try to see how things get done. They have to learn, they have to wait. So I think these are some of the challenges that we've seen with some of the clients we work with. But there's also added challenge of what's happening in the economy. So banks will have to further drive down operation costs, increase efficiency. Some of the things that emerge out of this situation as well is heightened trade volumes. These had some technological and infrastructure challenges for financial institutions. So the world has changed and it will change. And I think we will adapt to new ways of operating, build the necessary infrastructure around them. And undoubtedly there'll be a learning curve for a lot of financial institutions as a result of that. We help them in many aspects, Jim. For example, our managed services, we're able to transition increasing amounts of their operations onto our sites. Of course, we were ready. We had the capacity. We brought more people on board relatively quickly. So we help institutions lessen the effort they need to spend on developing or transitioning their own teams out. AI helps financial institutions or our clients work with their exceptions. The bulk of the inefficiencies today in any financial institutions could be tracked down to mismatched transactions. And when a transaction mismatches, it's a heavily labor-intensive and costly endeavor. So for every mismatch of a transaction, the cost is relatively $40. That's a lot of money, and you're talking of millions of transactions a day. this easily adds up. Our artificial technologies solutions and AI effectively comes in and helps address and identify where these exceptions typically occur, and helps to automate the process of reconciling, cutting down the inefficiencies or the breaks down to from the 20% of transactions down to a couple of percentage points. What we've learned from the COVID-19 is that we, as an industry, need to be able to effectively, just like that, be able to switch operational modes from homes, from BCP sites, from and back to the office and in and out, and create those hybrid teams that are working seamlessly from different locations. Some of the challenges are definitely going to be regulatory driven, because when a bank employee, for example, is working on a transaction from their home environment, it possesses a lot of challenges that regulators previously did not accept. Right? It's different when you're sitting in an office and it's a controlled environment. It's a white room. Now these white rooms are more technical barriers and boundaries than physical. So going back into the real world, I guess, hopefully soon, is how do we address what we've learned and how do we adapt it into a normalized work mode. And I think facing the challenges, I mean, if you've seen the reports of a lot of central banks today and governments, the impact on the economy is going to be massive. And that's going to have a lot of impact, I believe, on the operations of financial institutions. Whether that continues to drive spending efficiency, enhancing the way they operate, looking at areas of better cost control and risk management. These are the high-level themes that I see us heading to over the next few months. The nitty-gritties and the details are going to be further defined as we go back into our offices, I guess.
No one quite knows what the financial services industry, or any other industry for that matter, will look like 1 year from now. It's difficult to predict how markets, the global economy, or indeed society will change as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic. Change, though, is certain. So banks will increasingly be looking for solutions that blend resilience with agility and enable them to respond a lot faster as the new normal takes shape. Digitalization, software as a service, cloud, and artificial intelligence, these were all things that were going to shape the industry going forward. The only difference now is that those technologies have proved their worth in the most challenging of circumstances.